Hey guys, this is Billy with Geek Home Living, and in this video I'm going to be unboxing the iPhone 12 Pro and a few of the accessories that go along with it. Let's take a look. So I got the iPhone 12 Pro, of course, itself in the Pacific Blue. I have the clear case that goes along with it, and the wireless charger, and the charging brick that goes along with that. So let's go ahead and take a look here first at the iPhone 12 itself. Apple, of course, always has really good packaging. Now, one thing I noticed is that this box is super slim. I wish I had one of my old iPhones to look at by comparison, the box, but this is significantly thinner than what it used to be. And here it is. This is the iPhone 12 Pro in the Pacific Blue. The packaging, of course, is very minimal compared to what it used to be. Very heavy phone. So I'm coming from an iPhone 10, and this is, quite a bit heavier. You can definitely tell. I think a lot of it is to do with this stainless steel ring they have around it. And then on the front here, you just have this single piece of plastic that has little indicators for, like the silence, the volume up and down, and then the power button. And then shows at the bottom where the charging port would be. We'll peel that off. And that's it. Nothing else covering the phone to protect it right now. Inside the box, we also have this little booklet here that has, looks like we have a little tool to eject the SIM card tray on the side. Some kind of little paperwork. The single Apple sticker, which is a little departure for them. They used to give you two with everything. These typically just go in the trash for me, so can't say it's a big loss that I only get one. And then it has a USB-C to Lightning cable. So another thing this year, Apple said for environmental reasons, they were going to be getting rid of the charging brick that goes along with the box, saying that it's because a lot of people have them at home already, and so there really isn't a need to give them out. This is really more of a move to save a little money, make the packaging smaller so they can ship more. The power brick that they're using now requires a USB-C instead of a USB-A connector. And so initially I thought, well, yeah, of course, I have a power brick at home. But then I realized that, well, no, none of the power bricks I have will work with the included charging cable. Now, that's fine because it's still Lightning and I have a bunch of old cables. So if I want to connect it, I can use the old brick with USB-A and the old Lightning cables, no problem there. Now the trouble comes in is because I got the new Magsafe Charger, which I think will be really cool, but then it only has a USB-C, and that means I had to buy the brick to go along with it. So initially I had purchased the Magsafe Charger thinking, great, I have that, no problem, I have the power brick already. And then when I made that realization, I then the next day had to order the power brick to go along with it. Now the other thing, of course, they don't include in here any longer are the ear pods. That again is reasons they're saying just because everybody has them already, and also of course Apple is trying to sell more AirPods, and a lot of people already have them. So like me, for example, these are the AirPods that came with my, or the earpods I should say, that came with my old iPhone 10. You can see they're still in the box. I had them thrown in a drawer thinking, well, maybe one day I'll use them. Never have, because years ago I bought the original AirPods and they've been working great ever since. I've had no reason to go back to an old style wired. And plus I'm one of those people that when they used to include the old plastic case with them, I always like to keep it wound up and nice and neat in my backpack. That was kind of a pain to just have to roll up every time I went out somewhere and then unroll it to use, roll it back up. This is a lot easier just to open, pop them out, use them, put them back in. So for me, this makes sense. So I can understand why, in this case, they're not including those earpods any longer. So let's take a look at some of the accessories they got. Before we get on to the charging, let's take a look at the case. So they have several case options this year. One thing they don't have is the leather cases any longer. That was something I was a big fan of for a few generations, those leather cases. And now they only have, from first party anyway, right now they have the silicone case and then this clear case here, which I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, and I'm still not quite sure. The main reason I went with the clear case instead of the silicone is because I really like the Pacific blue color, and I wanted to see that phone. But at the same time, I don't really trust myself to have the phone without a case on it. You know, might drop it, more likely just scuff it when I'm using it and tossing it about. So let's take a look here. Pretty minimal packaging, as you expect from Apple. So it's plastic, of course, you can tell. Has a little bit of a grippy textures to it, so that's kind of nice. A little bit of a rubberized kind of feeling. And then it has the ring for Magsafe on the back here, with some print on the inside. Again, I think it looks a little strange, especially with the Magsafe logo there. Looks like a little strange power logo of sorts, but we'll see how it works. Now, putting the case in, I think, is going to be pretty straightforward and simple here. So I'll just drop it in. And there we go, it's inside the case. And getting it out. Takes a little bit of effort to get it out, but I guess that's a good thing. You wouldn't want to drop it. Now, one of the things I don't particularly like with this type of clear case is over time you tend to get lint and things behind there, so we'll see how this one does. I've also had some where the plastic has discolored over time and become yellow. Again, the main reason I did it was because I really liked the blue, and I liked the color of the stainless steel band on the side, so I wanted to be able to see it, of course. So we'll see how that works over the long haul. And then charging, we have Magsafe. This, of course, is taking the old branding from the Apple laptops where they had the Magsafe chargers. I used to love Magsafe on the old laptops. I have the 16-inch MacBook Pro over here, which has the USB-C on it, which is okay. It's easy to plug in, unplug, but there was just something almost magical about that Magsafe, the way it just snapped into place, and you could just get the connector near it, let go, and it would just pop right into place. I wish they would bring that back on the laptops. And this, though, I would call more akin to an Apple Watch charger, where it's just a little puck that goes onto the back. You know, pretty cool, though, but we'll see. Now, essentially, this is a Qi charger, just with magnets built into it. So what do we have in the box here? We have a small booklet. Do we get any Apple stickers? No Apple stickers with this. Oh, hold on, maybe yet. Nope, no Apple stickers with this one, but again, like I said, I never really use those, so that's fine. And here we have it, the charger itself. So we have the little puck, and then the cable that comes with it, the USB-C cable. And then this just snaps right onto the back. See here, it's still doesn't seem like a perfect alignment that it's doing, because you could possibly set it on and have it not quite line up right. There seems to be where it's lined up. It has a little bit of play to it, so it's not a super strong magnet that's on the back here. And maybe if we set it down and we're dropping it on like this. So it seems if you just let it grab on its own, it does a lot better job about centering itself up. You can put it on a little out of place, it seems. That right there seems to be the sweet spot, is right over top of the Apple logo. So at least that gives you a good sense on where to place the device. The one thing that I thought was pretty interesting is the way it sticks on. It does allow you to still have it charging and use the device at the same time. So if you're like me, sometimes you have it plugged into the lightning charger and you're using it. I had an old desktop charger, wireless charger before with my old iPhone, which I used in the evenings for charging it. But with that, once you set it on to charge it and you want to use the phone, you lift it off and it's not charging while you're using it. So this is kind of interesting. I don't know, it's a little bit more of a effort, I guess, in the mornings when you get up and you want to take it off that wireless charger. You can't just lift it off with one hand. but we'll see how it works. So as I mentioned, you needed the USB-C charging brick to go along with it. So that's what I have here. Pretty basic, little booklets inside. And they have a bit of plastic wrapped around it here. And that's it. Not a very long cord that comes with this, so I'll have to figure out how I'm going to place this. I may even need a little extension because this is extremely short, much shorter than I'm used to. That's about, I guess, a 3-foot long cable. I'd prefer if this was a 6-foot long that came with this. I think it would make it a lot more usable on a nightstand or desk somewhere. So we'll see how that works out. All right, so now the setup's finished on the new phone, I want to try out the Magsafe Charger and put the case on just so you guys can see those in action. So we'll try first just dropping it onto the charger without a case. And you can see here that it recognizes that it's on the charger. You get the little animation that shows up. And we'll, as I said, you can go ahead and hold this and use it while it's still charging, so that's kind of nice. I wish again it did have a longer charging cable because that would help a lot. And then we go ahead and pull that off. And I'm going to go ahead and try to put it in the case here. Oops. That case triggered the emergency. So let's try that again. Let's see, it did recognize it. So the case is a little snug, a little more difficult than I thought to put it in there. Let's go ahead and put it in sideways like that. And we have it in there. Okay, so it did recognize, you saw a little animation, so it recognized that it was in the case. Again, the ring on there, not sure how I feel about that, but I did want again to have the clear case so that I could see the blue. There we go, there's the case with the Magsafe markers on the back here so you can see where you connect it to charge. And we'll snap it on to the charger. So as I mentioned, I have the iPhone 10, which is about 3 years old now. The phone's actually still been running great. For me, the big reasons to update weren't necessarily that A4 Bionic chip, although that's great that it's faster. I still find the iPhone 10 to be plenty fast enough. Oftentimes in the past when I've updated, it's been because the phone is starting to feel slow and sluggish. It doesn't hold a charge as well, but the 10, 3 years in, has been great. For me, the big reason, the compelling reason, was the new camera system. I wanted to get that camera upgrade so I could start using my iPhone for more filming, and I think that'll be really nice to have. Of course, there are still some other specs. They have the ceramic shield on the front, which they say makes it 4 times more shatter resistant. Of course, I'm not going to test that to find out if it is 4 times more shatter resistant. I think there have been other channels out there that have done those tests. As I understand, the backing, though, is still the regular glass backing from the previous generation phones, so it's just that front glass that is the ceramic shield. And then, of course, this being the Pro model, it has that stainless steel band on the side. On the iPhone, the non-Pro version of the iPhone 12, it is the aluminum band. I understand that makes it a little bit lighter, a little bit more resistant to fingerprints. So the iPhone 12 Pro did bump up its base capacity this year and going to 128 gigs. And then they also have the 256 and 512 gig models. This one I went with the middle, the 256. I checked my old iPhone 10 and found that I was using probably around 180 gigs or so a little too much to go with the 128. So it seemed like the 256 was going to be a good fit. Now, instead of it being a 5.85 inch screen, at least on the iPhone 10, it's now gone to the 6.1 inch screen. So this year, Apple was really pushing the 5G as their big selling feature. I don't think it really was for me because I spend most of my time here in 2020 at the house within Wi-Fi range. So I don't even really go on 4G or anything off of Wi-Fi very often. And when I do, I find for what I'm doing, it's adequate. It's nice to have the 5G to future-proof the phone a little bit because I'm sure as 5G gets rolled out more and more across the country, it will be more usable, and especially as life returns to normal in the future and we can all get out a little more often. So as I said, one of the big reasons for upgrading was the camera system. The iPhone 10 that I'm coming from had the 2-camera system with the telephoto and the wide-angle lens. Last year, of course, they introduced the 3-camera system on the iPhone 11 with the telephoto, wide angle, and ultra wide. So one of the big differences is the aperture size. On the iPhone 10, the telephoto lens was a f2.4. Now on the iPhone 12 Pro, it's down to an f2. The wide angle lens on the iPhone 10 was 1.8, and now on the iPhone 12 Pro, it's 1.6, and the ultra-wide lens is a 2.4. And then, of course, one of the big things this year on the Pro phones is that LiDAR scanner, which is going to be really big for low-light photography, since it'll help it grab focus a lot quicker. And then we also have the possibilities there for AR. Now, I think one of the interesting things that I'm going to have to get used to now is the fact that going from the 10 to the 12 Pro here is that they have, in last year's model, I believe, in the 11, they removed the 3D or Force Touch feature. Of course, that's also been removed on the Apple Watch this year now. So I didn't use it that often, but occasionally when I would, I found it was a very useful feature. So I'll just have to get used to long presses instead of the force press now. Well, that's it for my first impressions of the iPhone 12 Pro. I will try it out over the next few days and especially compare it against my iPhone 10, the camera, just to see how the two stack up. I'll do some comparisons there and let you know what I think of it overall after having a few days to use it. My first thoughts really are that I think I'm going to like the phone. I like the screen. It seems much more bright and clear than the iPhone 10 was. You can tell it's a little bit larger. It does feel a lot heavier. I think it does feel a little more akin to like what the iPhone 8 was, or the ones that had the LCD screens instead of the OLED. A little heavier phones, but the iPhone 10 was quite lightweight. So it's an interesting change. Take a little while to get used to that extra heft. I'm sure within a few days I won't notice the difference. I really do like this form factor, and that was the reason for me getting this one instead of the Max. I think I would have liked to have the better cameras, but I at the same time like this form factor. It just is easy to carry around, hold with one hand. You can drop it in your pocket without any trouble. So overall, I think I'm going to be happy with this form factor, even if I do lose some of those extra camera features. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave your comments down below, and let me know if you have any questions about the products that I unboxed today, or if you'd like to see me review anything in particular in the future, and I'll see what I can do. Until next time, this has been Billy with Geek Home Living.